this mic on? All right. Just feel that vibration deep in your soul. So everybody's feeling those same vibes today. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be asked. You don't know when you're working in your studio by yourself if anybody knows you exist. So it's good to feel loved up here. I really feel it. And just so happy to meet so many new people and see so many friends that have guided my life. Do you know we're watching David Lynch's Twin Peaks reboot right now? It kind of feels the same in this place, doesn't it? The red velvet curtains, the weird sounds outside. Well, I'll start it off with a dream. This painting, which my good friend Lisa and Roger have, came from a dream a few years ago. It's called Grandfather's Half. In the dream, I was 5 years old, and my grandfather, who passed when I was about 8, appeared in the dream. And he handed me this fish and looked into my eyes, and he said, "Eat this fish. It's the fish that your grandfathers and mothers ate to become whole." And in that dream, I knew that when I ate that fish, I would become whole myself and be able to pass that fish on. There would always be another half, as long as I continued to give, and that would go on for eternity. So this is a symbolic, abstract representation of that sensation of eternal renewal and sharing. And that's really what mentorship is. You receive and you give. It's not a one-way street. So let's see if this clicker works here. Wow, that sound is really interesting. This is Bob and Jane. Most of the people that are mentors in my life probably wouldn't even know that they were my mentors, because it really begins as a friendship. A mentorship is not just something that you get something from somebody else. It's a balanced relationship. And although the person with experience, your elder, has more experience to give to you, you can reciprocate with love and respect and also passing that on. So after college, I moved up to this tiny little town of Republic, and there's about more than 18 people, 800 people. And geographically, the size of the county is about the same size as Spokane, but there's only 7,000 people that live there. So you can imagine how few people lived in this town, and those were your friends. You didn't get to pick and choose. You just were friends with the people that lived there. And so most of my friends were 65 and older, and I was in my 20s, early 20s. And I have this photo up here because it really shows me and reminds me of how much they loved each other and loved everybody around them. And they taught me how to live life. Bob always said, "Do what you want to do, not what you have to do." And you hear that from somebody who's lived their entire life and is happy at the end, so you believe them. And that's what I seek out in my mentorships. So, what makes a good mentor? I think first and foremost, it's somebody who cares about the well-being of other people. Not just you, especially you, but everybody. They really care for the well-being of their community. And when you get to have that one-on-one, you feel very special. They're curious, they're encouraging, and non-competitive. I think that in the creative world, we feel like that we're always hustling and working and trying to beat out other people for grants and projects and space. But that's not what mentorship and art is about. We are supposed to be here for each other, and the more that we share, the more the art becomes meaningful for us. So non-competitive, that is just like, keep that in your heart. They lead by example. I don't think I ever had a mentor who gave me direct advice, especially unsolicited advice. I really just observed their life, and they were there for me. They're honest about their own challenges. Some of the most important lessons I've learned have been through the hardships that people have gone through, and their honesty about how hard it was to get through. And they believe in the mentee. They give them the tools to solve their own problems. They don't solve their problems for them. And they don't claim to know everything. If you meet somebody who claims to know everything, they're a cult leader. So just try to take everything with a grain of salt when you meet somebody. Let's see here. Oh, Am I on to the next one? Oh yeah, this is Rachel, and she lives up in Republic. You know when you meet somebody and you don't know them, but you see them and you sense them and you know that you're the same person? This is Rachel. There's also somebody in the audience, Jeannie, who I feel the same way about. Oh, she already left? She gone? Oh. Well, I would have done the same thing to her. But Rachel, the reason why that I find her a mentor to me, even though she doesn't know this about herself, is she's a person who chose her own path. When she was about 20, her family decided to move overseas. They're all from New York. And they went to the airport, and she said, well, I'm going to California. And she just lived her own life. And she chose her own path. She has struggles in life. She has difficulties, but they're her difficulties. And she's also content with her life. She's 84 now and still following her own path and following her own compass. And which is funny because I just met Jasmine today and I got her business card. And the one that I picked out says, may you flow in harmony with your inner compass, which is just absolutely perfect. Is the sound okay on this? Am I holding the microphone all right? Okay. And that's really what I seek out in my mentors. Like who in the world is following their own compass? They're not necessarily choosing to rebel from society and they're not conforming to it, but they're following that inner path that's theirs. And I don't follow their compass, but I learn how to follow my own through them. So, and then this is a type of painting that I was painting at the time. I'm sorry it's blurry. I took it on a really crappy digital camera in the early 2000s, so it's mountains. And she lives alone with solar power and a well, and she's amazing. She's so cool. So what makes a good mentee? It's almost the same as a mentor. You're curious, you care about the well-being of other people, but one thing that's important if you're becoming a mentee, a lot of things, is that you really observe the whole person's life and actions. They can tell you all kinds of information with words, but do you see and witness the consequences of their beliefs and their actions in life? You know, you can say you should meditate every day, but if they're angry and frustrated, you know, that doesn't mean anything. So I think being very observant about the arc of their lifespan and the way that they interact with people and their own sense of self gives you more information than even the words that they tell you. And that takes a long-term commitment. Not every mentorship results in a long-term, lifelong commitment, but it is good to keep up with people and maintain relationship. And I think that mentorship changes and evolves over time, and you learn more and more and more. And reciprocate where you can, because you can't just take from somebody. When they give you something, it's very important to offer what you can offer, whatever skills that you have, whatever love you have. Sometimes that's helping with tech issues. Actually, I send Raj to help my mentors with their tech issues because I don't know either. But and you're not a devotee, so you don't take everything they say as ultimate truth. You learn and you listen and you apply those lessons in practice. And you make your own choices as well. You take their advice sometimes, and you give thanks. And I think those are very important to remember when you're asking somebody to be a mentee to them, that they feel like their time is valued, and then they get something out of it as well. And I'll tell you a little story about that. So this next one, this is Gene. These are all people that I met in Republic, by the way, so far. Gene, he's so curious about the world. He really was engaged, and he just would talk to anybody. And I learned from him just by hanging out. I think just by hanging out with people that had more life than I had, that worrying what people think about you is a young person's problem. So he didn't care what people thought about him, and that everybody wants that, right? Even though he was a little awkward, he was a little boisterous, and he would butt into conversations, but it wasn't to talk about himself, it was to ask other people about themselves. And he showed me that when you remember that everybody feels nervous on the inside, and you ask them to open up and in a caring way, those nerves go away, they dissipate, and they dissipate in yourself as well. And okay, how do I tell this story? One day we were at a party, and for some reason I was really early, so we had just been chatting in the corner at this house, and he said, the man who lived in this house went on the Trans-Siberian Railroad, and I've always wanted to do that, but my kids won't go with me, and I just can't do that by myself. And I chimed in and I said, I'll go with you. And he took me up on it, and we went from Europe to China on train. Took 2 weeks, and I feel like that was my gift to him, that he got to fulfill this life dream of his. And I learned so much from him about being in the world, asking people about their lives. And now my husband and I travel by train, and we talk to everybody. When you see us in public, we're just like chatting it up with everybody. And a lot of that has to do with learning from Gene. And the painting is called My Bearded Friend, and I painted this after he passed. And it's just symbolic of how two peoples can affect each other's lives. We shape each other. We become ourselves through our interactions with our friends. And they also change. So I've been talking a lot about really informal mentorships, people I just met who I admire, who I keep in touch with. Almost everybody up there has passed on, and I still talk to them. I just still, I love them so much, and it makes me emotional. What kind of mentorships are there besides informal mentorships? The importance of an informal mentorship is that it really bonds society together. Let me get to my notes. Ew. There we go. You can have family, friends, your neighbors, just people that you talk to on a regular basis and learn from. And that really bonds society together. It gives you a heart-to-heart connection with people. And they care about your physical and emotional well-being. These are very important mentorships to develop and maintain in your life. And then there's formal mentorships. That can be school, artist residencies, apprenticeships, even sports or children's clubs. Like I was in Campfire when I was a little kid, and we got to interact with different kinds of people and try things out with guidance. Work and formal mentorships are very important to society to pass on cultural information. As we lose our institutions or they start to kind of crumble apart, we really need to strengthen those institutions, and not just to have a rigidity in our culture, but to pass on information so that it really sticks. When you're in an intense mentorship situation, that knowledge passes on and stays in a much deeper way. That can be, art school or just even a club that you're part of on a regular basis over time. There's short-term mentorships for skill building or advice, and then there's those long-term, lifelong relationships that you can build. Here is an example of a short-term mentorship. Just a photo of the back of this monastery. So St. Gertrude's Benedictine Monastery down in Cottonwood, Idaho. It's out in the middle of nowhere. And these monks live. They're women, but they live a monastic life. And they have a short-term artist residency. You make art, but they also teach you about the methods of monasticism. And I think it's very important for artists to have something outside of their normal life to go live intensely and intently with intention in a setting like that. So I learned so much from them. If you ask me down here when we mingle, I'll tell you about it, but I'm kind of running over time, I'm sure. It was a beautiful experience, and they taught me about that structure is important to have in a creative, freewheeling life. So how do you find a mentor? This is a great place. You're already here. This is awesome. You're getting to meet each other. And this offering and seeking board, what a brilliant idea. Thanks for bringing that. So I think number one, you're already doing it, be in the community. So if you are out going to shows, exhibitions, readings, events, Raj and I host a block party in our neighborhood. We talk to everybody we know. You never know who you're going to meet. And then you can do formal mentorships. So there's the library offers classes. You can take music classes at the library and videography. The MAC has a lot of events going on. Spokane Art School is a good place. You can enroll in college again. You can do it. Eastern Washington University's art department, oh my God, they're amazing. I have a few professors in the audience today that are here that I had over 20 years ago. So that means those are deep, caring people that will guide you through your life. There's Creative Enterprise, which I know a couple people here may have taken, and you're signed up for classes, and then you are assigned a mentor. And that mentor might be a good fit, and they may not, but you can always learn from each other. And it's a really good opportunity to get one-on-one mentorship. And then there's the Heart Space Yurt events. This is kind of a pitch, which I'm probably not supposed to do, but we'll talk about that later. You got to find Tom Askman in the crowd today. And go to an artist residency. So say you found that person, you're like, oh, I really admire that person. They are so cool. I want to learn from them. How do you approach them? So I keep thinking that's me, my stomach. Yeah, right? I won't sing on the stage, but I wish I could. So say you find that person that you're just so inspired by. That person is doing the thing they love. They are really already in the practice of living their life. So they might be a little busy, or they might think like, people always want stuff from them. So when you approach somebody, I still find email is the most professional way to contact somebody. I'm old school, DMs and stuff like that work too, but like kind of switch it over to like a more personal, maybe I'm really old school, I don't know, but I still think emails are the best, most professional way to contact somebody, or in person. So before you start asking, gather yourself and think of like, what specifically do I want to ask of this person? So that when you do ask, they're not feeling overwhelmed or like it's gonna be a long-term commitment. Don't have that expectation to begin with. They might be overbooked. So start small. And also tell them about yourself and tell them why they are the person that you're looking for. Because I've had where somebody just sent me a message that said, I need to know about murals. I'm like, well, you can ask anybody that question. Why are you asking me? And I didn't even respond because there was no punctuation. It was just like so generic. I felt like it was a mass email. And so you want to establish that relationship with that person by making it personal. And being in the community helps. So this is the very first mural I ever painted in Spokane. It was about 10 years ago, and I had not painted a mural that size, and neither had my friend that painted with me. So I knew I had gaps in my knowledge, and I needed to fill those gaps in order to even apply. And I reached out to Melissa Cole. She is an amazing artist too. She has murals all over Spokane. And I had met her a couple times at different events, so we already had somewhat of an established relationship. So when I reached out to her, she responded, and she was so generous. She gave me all this knowledge, she gave me her time, and we ultimately got that commission. What I remember from that are not the things that she told me, but was her generosity. And that was my first introduction into this community in Spokane after being gone for so long. And I thought, if we can create a collaborative, non-competitive, generous art community, then everybody's gonna come up together. And that stayed with me, and that's what I wanna share with everybody here. So when somebody asks you to help them, try to give your best. So how to become a mentor. It would be really weird to walk around and just say, I'm a mentor. Would you like me to teach you something? You can't do that. It's so weird. So, go out in the community, just like a mentee. Be curious about people. And eventually, somebody's going to think you're cool. And they will ask you for advice, maybe. And be the kind of person that you would look up to. And just do the thing you love. Follow your compass, and people will see that you have that North Star. Don't be rigid, but if you follow what you're doing, people will look up to that, and that's what people are seeking. But you can specifically offer your experience at the library, the MAC right here on this board, the Spokane Art School, Creative Enterprise, all of these same places where people seek mentors. You can offer your mentorship. And if you're at work and you feel like you have so much experience, you can propose a mentorship program through work. We kind of did that at Spokane Arts when I worked there, and we did community-based murals where I got to teach people how to paint murals, and that feels so good. And then again, if somebody asks for your advice, don't turn them away. Be generous. Don't hoard your knowledge, because you're going to do it differently than they're going to do it, but they need a little bit extra. And lastly, grow pumpkins. So this is our front yard, and all the neighborhood kids, they're so cute. They just needed something to do in the fall. So I grew these pumpkins, and I told their parents, everybody come over, we'll paint pumpkins together. And the parents just left their kids at our house. So, so we were the neighborhood pumpkin patch for a while. And our home is a place that people feel welcome. And that's kind of going back to Bob and Jane from the very beginning. How do you create that space where people feel like they can learn about themselves through and be in community with each other? And now these kids are almost 10 years older, and there's 2 in here that are in love and living together now. It's so sweet. And they're all turning out pretty good. So these are just a couple different examples. This was the Fresh Soul down on 5th in East Central. We did this community project together where Gonzaga students and the neighborhood kids painted together. That was awesome. This was during COVID. We did art camp in our front yard once a week. And this is a neighbor across the street, Cliff. And you don't know who you're talking to when you talk to your neighbor, but turns out he paints hard edge abstractions. He's an artist, and we talk to him almost every week, hanging out. He looks so cool. And oops. This is some of the work that I create now. I'll just go through that quickly. And this is a big mural I finished last year here in Spokane. It's in a secret location. Thanks. I'm so done. And then, okay, last but not least, the mentor of all mentors, Tom Askman. First, we met through normal schoolwork. He was my art professor. The stories are too long and too many, but the one main thing out of all the things he's taught is that, I wish I had this diagram up here. Imagine 3 concentric circles. And the outer circle is have, and the middle circle is do, and the center circle is be. And he asks us, what do you think you want to have in life? What do you think you want to do in life? And have you considered how you want to be in life? So you don't get to have art shows. You don't own them. You don't get to do art. You are a human being. So it's the main purpose in life is to find that inner human heart and make sure that that's connected with other people. If you make art, if you are an engineer, all these things are superficial. It's being a good person. And I love you, Tom. And I've been friends with him ever since, and he still guides my life in a lot of ways. And one more. This is a thank you to, these are just a few of the many people who have guided me in my life. Lisa and Roger, up there. Yeah. And you can't forget the natural world, the Spokane River, and my old friend, Scruffy, the old rock, among all the things. Okay, thank you very much. And next is our activity, if you guys are up for it, if I haven't gone over my time. So this is a game I learned from Tom, and we play every once in a while at his house after coffee. And it helps you get over your ego. Oh, yeah. So I'll describe it as they pass out the paper and pens. And please play, even if you're nervous. All right, what you do is you get your piece of paper and you write down the first 3 words that come to your mind. Don't even think about it too hard. Just write them down. Oh my gosh, there's so many people here. I wasn't expecting this many people. You write your first 3 words that come to your mind. Don't think too hard. and then you flip your paper over. And then the next step is whoever you're sitting around or nearby, and it's better if it's a stranger, if somebody you haven't met yet, or if it's somebody that you just met today. Switch your papers around. Don't get your own paper. And then, I need to set a timer. Somebody have a phone handy with a timer? We're going to set it for 93 seconds. We found in our experience of doing 3 words, 93 is good.
93 seconds.
Yeah, 2 minutes is too long, a minute's too short. You need about a minute and a half and add a couple seconds, a couple more for Raj. And okay, so then when we set the timer, after that, you have switched papers, you have somebody else's, you've not seen the words yet, hit go on the timer.
Ready?
No, has everybody written their 3 words? Everybody's good? And then we switch papers. Have we done that already? Has everybody switched papers? Okay, we'll wait for 1 second. All right, so then after you switch papers, when we flip it over, you write whatever comes to your mind using the 3 words. It can be a joke, a poem, a weird scenario, prose, whatever's in your heart, inspired by those 3 words. And then you read them to the group of people that you shared with. It's easier in a small table with about 10 people max, but this is going to be a really new experience. And you just read them out loud to the people. We don't have time to read everybody's. But the first time Tom's girlfriend, Debbie, did this, she's like, I don't want to do it. We're like, Debbie, you got to do it. And she got the words tummy, vomit, and game. And her first one was, this game makes my tummy want to vomit. And we've been playing for a year, and she is an expert now. I wish she was here because she's really good at it. So, and that kind of just like, it's a game to just free you up, let you be creative, not judgmental. Everybody's is terrible or good. It just depends on the day.
Are we ready for the timer?
Has everybody switched papers? Switch.
Okay, switch papers.
Okay.
Okay, I'm starting the timer.
Okay.
Switch right here.
Oh, you need a switch. Somebody, you can just switch with whatever you got. It's on the ground.
All right, in 3, 2,
There we go. Go.
like that phone. And time.
Woo! All right, find a small group and then just read your words to each other. There we go. So funny. Oh, she's still writing. That's okay, we got started late.
I got mine.
All right, we'll wait for Rose Honey to finish.
I just can't come up with the last little word, but I'll come up with it.
It's okay. All right, you want to go first?
Okay, mine was mic hot and sexy. A sexy speaker spoke. Her mic quiet but not broke. The crowd in awe and grateful hearts. That's where I needed to finish my rhyme.
Oh, and she didn't even fart. All right, I got Rose, mural, and house.
Okay.
She lived in a rose house with a mural for a garden. Yay! Okay.
Okay, I got banana, kitten, and daisy.
Listen to those people laughing.
I love banana bread in the garden, watching kittens linger and daisies grow.
Oh, beautiful.
That was
Good job.
There we
I'm
go.
just gonna tell them about Shrek.
Shrek.
And then I'm gonna tell them about the game and offering to come up and interact with it. And are we out of coffee? Do we have an extra one in the back?
No, we finished a bit.
Both?
Yeah.
Cool. So then grab one.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do this.
Thank you, everybody. That was awesome. One for Tom first. Group hug.